Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another figure review. Now today, finally we're going to be taking a look at none other than the MMS 500 Diecast Mark 7, of course based off his appearance in the first Avengers movie. Now I personally have been so very excited and looking forward to this guy ever since I saw him when he was announced at ACGHK last year. Now I've seen him a couple of times since then, each time getting progressively more excited because this guy looks absolutely phenomenal. I cannot wait to get him out here. Now, if you do want to pick up your very own Mark 7, he is in stock and up for pre-order either for the regular or exclusive edition right now with Philip Liu from Toys Wonderland. And he's just launched his new website, toyswonderland.com. Link down below to those pre-orders and in-stock links, as well as the Neon Tech War Machine 1.0 first and second batch pre-order links. You can now pay with PayPal, Apple Pay, Google Pay. You can basically have a lot more freedom to decide how you'd like to pay for your figures. Now, for those of you who like seeing these really early videos on Hot Toys figures and a whole bunch more stuff, why not hit that subscribe button and that bell icon, because you'll be alerted as soon as a new video goes live. And also, stick around to the end of the video because Philip Liu is sponsoring a giveaway of the Mark 7. That's right, you can potentially win yourself a Mark 7. Stick around right till the end of this video after the credits and the details will be there. Either way, what we're going to do now is bust out all the Mark 7's accessories and take a look at everything he comes with. And here we have all of the Mark 7's accessories. Now you'll have to bear with me for a minute because there's a hell of a lot of stuff to go through. Either way, let's start off with the display base, the infamous reuse Terminator display base. Now I have a theory as to why they did it, but let's talk about it first and then we'll go over my theory. Now as you can see, they've switched out the blood effect for these nice sort of oil stain patterns. There's some shiny bits to replicate sort of glass, and there are of course bullet casings down the bottom. They could be from Hawkeye, Black Widow, or the police. They were all firing off rounds. They could have sort of fallen down by the sort of front of the display base there. Totally fine. I think this really does work for Iron Man. Now they have actually removed the light up section. No screw. You can't actually install batteries in there. However, they do still have the articulatable little lights on the front. They don't work, so I don't know why they're there, but they've definitely still included them. And of course, Avengers Mark 7 printed on the front there. Now the reason why I think they did reuse this is because they needed to save money. Think about it. All of these new bits and pieces, and of course the Diecast Mark 7 itself, that's a significant investment by Hot Toys. So that's why I give them a bit of a pass when it comes to that display base. Now, in order to actually use the figure on the display base, he does come with the dynamic flight pole, which you can use to sort of have him floating in mid-air. And then of course he does come with this. I've actually never seen anything like this before. It's got the sort of under-style crotch grabber, but then also a waist grab, which is extremely tight. So I don't think your Mark 7 is in danger of falling over anytime soon. Now let's take a look at that special edition hologram piece. Now as you can see, it's just a blue translucent piece, just like we've gotten with other special edition die-cast figures. It's plugged into a little black display base, and it's meant to replicate the pod mode. Now I do appreciate getting this because my Mark 7 is never going to be displayed in pod mode. I'll do it once for this video, and then that's pretty much about it. I think I really like the idea of having it in pod mode, but I just can't justify spending that much on a figure and then putting it in this format rather than having the badass Mark 7 himself. Now let's take a look at the laser effects. These are the same effects that we've seen in the past. They're just a translucent sort of pink plastic, just like we get from lightsaber blades from Hot Toys. Now I've arranged these sort of pod accessories off to this side and some of the other accessories over here. Obviously you can see some carryover anyway, but let's take a look at the head sculpt first. It's a really nice head sculpt. This is pretty much the same head sculpt we've seen from the Mark 6 and all of the previous other Iron Man figures that do have the pop open helmet, such as the Mark 2, except the paintwork has been improved a little bit and there's some battle damage on the inside. Now you can see there are these really delicate sort of pieces on the side. Those are actually metal. That's a really nice touch by Hot Toys. On the previous plastic battle damage figure, those were made of plastic and you couldn't actually close the faceplate like you can do on this one. So they've sort of re-engineered it. Even this piece is not a reuse from that already awesome plastic battle damage Mark 7. So I really do appreciate that. And don't worry, a full comparison video is on the way. And let's take a look at some of these bits and pieces right here. This is, of course, the front panel, or I think it goes like that. The front panel for the pod mode, detailed really nicely. You can see a lot of battle damage on there. I'm not exactly sure why there's battle damage on the front. You could, of course, swap out this chest plate, but basically, out of the box, it comes with the battle damage chest plate. Of course, in the pod mode, it should be brand new and pristine. This, I think, should have been on the figure out of the box, just so it's not sending the wrong message. Either way, it comes with that. It also does come with these pieces right here, the missile attachments. As you can see, they just replace the shoulder pads, and you still do have a little bit of articulation in the flap itself. Do be careful because they do sort of tend to come out, so when you're articulating them, know the end and start points so you don't do it too far and then they pop out. So I really do appreciate those missile pods. He does also come with these sections, which are of course the little laser sections. You can see them right there. There are the laser sections that you actually plug on to the Mark 7 himself. Now he does come with 2 of these shoulder pads that are battle damage. Quite nice shoulder pad sort of battle damage wear and tear here. It's a little bit soft though. The detail isn't as sharp as I think it could be. I give them a pass though because these are sort of nice to haves rather than absolute necessities. Now he does come with a couple of different versions of the upper thigh armor. These ones of course have the missiles when he flew into that beast and shot the missiles out. There's a really nice level of wear and tear and pitting all over the whole thing. It gives it a real metallic look and I really do appreciate it. And then these two right here, I'll show you both because they are both different. As you can see, the wear patterns are unique between the two. These are of course the ones when these panels pop off and then we have the cleaner look to these ones right here. They're a nice gold paintwork with, as I said, that nice pitting work over the top. Now we're almost there with the accessories. Let's take a look at his little Iron Man feet. These are the die-cast plugs which plug in to the legs themselves, so I really do appreciate it. There's a bit of weight to these, which is quite nice. And as I said, they are painted really nicely, just like all of the other bits and pieces, with a nice level of pitting and wear and tear throughout. I really do appreciate the fact that they've gone ahead and done that throughout the entire figure. Now it does come with these swap-out forearm armors. They do just sort of plug together like we saw on the Mark 6, except a little bit less intricate. They are just a top and bottom, and you can see the missile on there as well. And you can see that the front has been sort of transformed around a little bit, so it looks like it's morphed out of the arm, which I really do like. Now there are a couple of bits and pieces of armor that do just sort of switch out. They don't really need to be touched on, I don't think, until we get to the pod mode, but just know that they are there. And then of course, he does come with a bunch of hands as well. These are the articulated ones. These are the ones that I'm going to have on my figure. A nice level of wear and tear over the entire thing, just like the rest of the suit. And then the hands are done quite nicely. I do still think those inner joints on the hands should be painted a different color, just so it differentiates the joints themselves, but still a really nice piece nonetheless. Either way, that's pretty much it for the accessories. Finally, what we're going to do now is get the Mark 7 himself out here and take a closer look. And here we have the Mark 7 himself, and he looks like a total badass. As soon as you pick him up out of the package, you feel that quality. He's really heavy. He weighs almost a kilo, which is crazy for something of this size. Now, the paintwork is just as equally as outstanding as the feel of this guy in hand. It's got a nice satin finish throughout the entire thing, which is very indicative of the movie itself. Now, yes, the red is a little bit lighter. It's not that really dark sort of cranberry red that we saw on film. That could be because they were trying to match the sort of color of the suit itself before all the color grading went in. I'm not sure. That's just me speculating. Either way, I really like the way the red comes across in person. Does this say Mark 7 to you? Because it absolutely does to me. Now, the nice sort of subtle weathering pass throughout the entire thing just brings it to life. This one looks so much more detailed and so much more real compared to the plastic Mark 7s. That battle damage one could give this one a run for its money, but we won't be able to tell until we get into the full comparison video. But either way, first impressions, I'm absolutely enamored by this thing. It looks just damn awesome. I'm almost prepared to say, at least for me, this could take the #1 spot as my favorite die-cast figure. Either way, let's punch in and take a closer look. Punching in, here we have the Mark 7 and he looks outstanding. As you can see up close and personal, the detail holds up. He looks just as good. All that sort of pitting and wear and tear looks absolutely outstanding. Now I do have the lights on. They will probably die fairly soon. The batteries that Hot Toys include are absolutely atrocious. Either way, what we're going to do is go through all the little bits and pieces that move on the figure before we move on to the missile launching mode. Yes, that's what they call it. The battle damage mode and then the pod mode. So we'll go through each and every single one. This, however, is just the standard normal mode for the Mark 7 and it looks so darn good. I love the way this thing looks. Either way, let's take a look at these flaps. Now bear with me because they're a little bit of a pain. These do like to move around. As you can see, they aren't really fixed in all that well. They've been pushed in as hard as they can be, but they still like to float around just a little bit. But these pieces can move to about there before they start getting loose and want to pop off. So do be careful. These bottom ones also do articulate, but they are really stiff and they like to pop off as well. So they articulate to about there. As you can see, they do open up and there's a nice level of detail on the inside. But just be careful, as I said, when you are moving them because they like to pop off fairly easily. As you can see as well, when you close this one back up, do make sure to close that gap there, just so you don't have gaps all over your Mark 7. Now, as you can see, the front chest panel looks really nice and clean, but you can switch it out for a battle damage one, which we will do in just a bit. But when you do actually remove this one, it is assisted at least by a magnet. So when you remove it, as you can see, nice level of detail on the inside there, and there are two magnets. Those big red pieces right there and there are the magnets. So when you do apply it back on, it does sort of help it to click into place because there are still traditional clips as well. Now, in terms of the rest of the stuff, most of the other moving pieces are on the legs, but the upper torso looks really nice and sharp. As I said though, the red does come across a little bit light. There's no two ways about it. The red's a little bit lighter than it should be. I don't think it's all that bad. I actually really do like it, and that satin finish really does help in my opinion. But yes, the red should have been darker. You're absolutely right. Either way, what we're going to do now is pan the camera down and take a closer look at the legs. The rest of the Mark 7 is equally as well detailed as the upper torso. First things first, taking a look at the paintwork, you can see there's a really nice level of wear and tear throughout the entire thing, so it just brings it to life in my opinion. You can see the silver front panels are on the legs right now, but we will switch them out for the gold ones when we take a look at the battle damage look. Either way, let's take a look at the detail on the bits and pieces that move out of the way. So the hip skirts are obviously articulated, but he does finally a die-cast figure that has the flare compartment. You see it pulls out. It doesn't rotate, but it does come out all the way, and you can see there's a nice level of detail on the inside there. I really do appreciate Hot Toys going ahead and engineering that. As I said, it's the first time we've seen that from a die-cast release. Either usually it's a plug-on piece, or they just omit it altogether. So I really do like that they've done that. Now, it does also have these moving panels on the side right here, with a little bit of detail on the inside. These are mainly for pod mode, but I still appreciate that they've included that. And then moving down to the legs, he does have these little flare-out little thruster pieces, just like we saw on the Mark 6 and the Mark 4. I'm pretty sure they had that as well. I really do like that. And then moving around to the back of the leg, he does have these, which we haven't seen in a while, a little bit of detail on the inside there with all the little bits and pieces. I love that. That is totally awesome. And then he does have movable little ankle armor, which is really appreciated. So a lot of little bits and pieces that move around on the Mark 7, making it, in my opinion, one of the best die-cast Iron Man figures. Now, to switch the Mark 7 to battle damage mode, you're going to need to do the following. First things first, remove these panels, install the replacement panels on the front, remove the shoulder pads, install the new battle damage versions, remove these panels on the back, remove the normal Mark 7 chest plate, install the battle damage chest plate, remove the thigh armor, install the new gold armor, remove the panels on the side of the chest, remove the Mark 7 helmet, and install the battle damage Robert Downey Jr. head sculpt. And here we have the battle damage look for the Mark 7, and this looks really, really good. Now, you're probably asking me, does this look as good as the plastic battle damage Mark 7? And the short answer is really no. That one is meant to be the full-on war-torn battle damage version of the Mark 7. This looks really, really good. Don't get me wrong. I still love the fact that they included all of those swap-out pieces, but it just can't match the detail and paintwork of that piece. Overall, this guy is the better package. Absolutely. This guy includes so many more features, and it's well worth picking up. However, if you want it purely for the battle damage look from right at the end of the first Avengers movie, the plastic one, in my opinion, just nudges it ever so slightly out in terms of how good it does look in this particular mode. Punching in to take a closer look at the battle damage look for the Mark 7. Don't worry, we won't spend too long going over each and every single piece because technically you've already seen it all. I just want to show you some of the new pieces. Now, as you can see, there's a little bit of detail revealed under here, which I think looks really, really good. They've absolutely killed it with the paintwork once again. And as you can see, a little bit of battle damage here and there. And then it does clean up quite nicely on the back when you remove all of those bits and pieces. Now, that head sculpt is absolutely outstanding. Let me remove that panel so it lightens it up just a little bit, but as you can see, I think that looks really, really good. On the figure itself, it looks even better than when we looked at it in the accessory segment. So I'm actually really impressed with the overall look of this entire battle damage piece. The mask on the front of the faceplate, they're really nice and just war-torn. I love how it looks. It looks really, really good. And don't worry, we will be doing a full comparison when that comparison video comes up a little bit later on. Now, to switch him up to his fully armored up mode, what you have to do is remove these top panels, install the rocket pod version, versions, separate his forearm armor, install the new fully armored up versions, remove the thigh armor, install the new missile pod variant, and here we have the fully weaponized armored up version of the Mark 7. I actually really like the way this looks. I like seeing all the bits and pieces that can pop out and make this guy, as I said, fully weaponized. It's awesome to see all the little missiles and little laser bits and pieces. I love the way this looks. You couldn't really quite do it to this full of an extent with the plastic version. Yes, he did have the missile pod shoulders, but he didn't have the fully transformed sort of wrist gauntlet piece that wraps around the base of the hand itself. I really like the way that looks. It looks like the laser piece has transformed out of it. There's a little bit more tech detail. It overall looks absolutely outstanding. I am very impressed with the fully weaponized version of the Mark 7. Zooming in, as you can see, the fully weaponized version looks absolutely spectacular. I love all the little missile pod details. It looks like these doors have split open and then the missiles are visible. That looks really, really cool. As you can see, even more missiles around the back. Very, very impressive. Now, what I meant before was it looks like this piece here has sort of transformed and then that piece has popped out of it. That's a really cool look. Something that they absolutely didn't have to do at all, and I really appreciate the fact that they've done that. You can also remove the missile sections and just include those cap pieces on there if you don't want to have them, just like he was in the standard version of the Mark 7. So you can definitely sort of play around with bits and pieces to get it looking exactly how you'd like. Now, to assemble the pod mode itself, the first thing you need to do is remove these two missile pod sections, remove the chest plate itself, remove the Mark 7 head, swivel the arms back towards the actual rear of the Mark 7, and then they will pop out just like so. Slide these top panels outwards, remove these back panels, plug in the laser sight sections, connect the front of the pod mode to the Mark 7, apply the bottom panel to cover up the underside, remove the lower legs, install the smaller feet, apply these pieces on the sides to create a more seamless look, detach these sections from the armor, plug them into the corresponding holes on the side of the pod, apply these armor panels to the back side of the pod, and finally apply the chest plate to the front of the armor. And here we have the pod mode in all its glory. I think this is a really nice option for the Mark 7. I do think, however, this should have been an included accessory in the box in sort of like a DX or a deluxe version of the Mark 7 for people to opt to go with this. I can't see many people converting their brand new shiny Mark 7 figure into a pod and then it living out the rest of its days like this. This is not the ideal version of the Mark 7 in my opinion. I'd much rather have him in normal mode in all of his glory. That, in my opinion, is the absolute preferred look. As I said, I still really do appreciate this, but also the fact that we don't have a proper Tony Stark figure to pair with this, I don't really see the benefit here at all. It's still really nice, don't get me wrong, but not something that I'm going to be using on my particular figure. Now, for a quick side-by-side comparison, here is the original plastic Mark 7 on the right and the brand new die-cast Mark 7 on the left. Now, let me just say this right off the bat, the brand new figure blows the plastic one out of the water in terms of paintwork, detail, engineering, weight. It's just an overall far superior figure. While I did appreciate the plastic one back in the day, it definitely has had its time in the sun, and now the new diecast figure has taken over as the ultimate, in my opinion at least, ultimate version of the Mark 7. Plastic one's totally fine, as I said, for back in the day, but nowadays, with the improvements that Hot Toys have made on this new figure, it looks absolutely outstanding. Pretty much every aspect of this guy is completely redone and reconfigured to look so much better. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things about the Mark 7. The first annoying thing, and yes, I have him in sort of half transformed mode, is the fact that these pieces right here are made out of rubber. They've almost completely done away with rubber on Iron Man figures. I don't know why that joint there had to be made of rubber. That's not an ideal material in my opinion. The second annoying thing are these pieces right here. You use these to plug in the shoulder armor. As you can see on mine, just from swapping it out a couple of times, because you are plugging it in blind, they get kind of distorted and then don't work as well. So this one is now really loose. The third annoying thing is, of course, the reused display base. While this works totally fine for the Mark 7, like I said in the intro, I still would have really appreciated a full-on custom display base specifically from the first Avengers film. The first cool thing is not just this Robert Downey Jr. head sculpt, which, might I add, looks absolutely fantastic, all of the awesome paintwork, all of the awesome detail, but it's the fact that you can use this faceplate on the front and close it up without actually bumping into all of these metal pieces on the side. That's something that you couldn't do on the plastic battle damage figure. The second cool thing is, of course, this pod mode. This is a really awesome option to display your Mark 7. The third cool thing is the fact that this piece, even though it's a separate attachment, still lights up, so you still get that awesome arc reactor right up front. Just wrapping up on the Diecast Mark 7, I am super impressed, I'm sure nobody's surprised at how good this figure is. He is absolutely spectacular. They've taken everything that they've learned from the previous Diecast Iron Man figures and pretty much gone all out on the Mark 7, and I really do appreciate it. The engineering, the paintwork, the sculpt work, the actual heft and size of this piece is outstanding. It blows that plastic one out of the water. This, in my opinion, has now become my personal favorite Diecast Iron Man figure. I love the Mark 50, and I still do, don't get me wrong, but this guy right here is just so damn classic, and I love it. He has, as I said, taken the #1 spot, at least for me. Either way, he is in stock right now with Philip Liu from Toys Wonderland. The link for that is down in the description below. He has them in stock, up for pre-order for the regular and exclusive edition. And also the first and second batch pre-order for Neon Tech War Machine are down below as well. Also check out 6 Scale Network, the brand new awesome Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and overall, have a good time. Also participate in giveaways. And yes, the giveaway announcement is right at the very end of this video, so don't go anywhere. Stick around for that. Also check out Judson and Steph, our brand new second channel for behind the scenes videos, and a whole bunch more awesome stuff. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video. Now, for those of you who've stuck around to the end of the video for the giveaway announcement, well, here it is. That's right, Philip and Toys Wonderland have partnered with me and my channel to give away a brand new Diecast Mark 7. This is not a region-specific giveaway. No matter where you are in the world, you are eligible to enter as long as you follow the rules. And the giveaway will be drawn in roughly a month's time, with details to come. Either way, the first rule is like and follow Toys Wonderland and Justin's collection on Facebook and Instagram. Second rule is join the 6 Scale Network Facebook group and comment on the announcement post, and you also do have to share that announcement post on Facebook. And then the third rule is subscribe to the Toys Wonderland newsletter and also subscribe to Justin's collection on YouTube, this channel right here. So the rules are pretty straightforward, doesn't take a lot of effort to enter, so make sure you follow all 3 and then you are in the draw to win. As I said, more details to come. You'll be seeing a lot more announcements on the 6 Scale Network Facebook group, and the links for all of that stuff are down below. Either way, good luck and happy collecting.